Hey, it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question, and that is how to stop attracting these sort of abusers, narcissistic or psychopathic individuals into one's life. The violators, the perpetrators, the people who take advantage of you, the people who are not really genuine friends, especially on a positive level. Oftentimes we find that people tend to repeat these abnormal relationships or dysfunctional relationships. Maybe not abnormal. Abnormal becomes the new normal almost when you have been perhaps trained or programmed subconsciously to be attracted to or resonate with these sort of individuals who are narcissistic, who are even psychopathic, those people without a conscience, those people who, will be attracted to those people who are very naive, very gullible, very kind-hearted, very giving, very generous, and always see the good in people. And the narcissistic, of course, which is, those individuals who are pathologically self-absorbed and lack empathy and really don't have a sort of heart-to-heart connection or positive relation or interaction with others. There's always a sarcasm. There's always kind of a dark side to the relationship. Someone ends up losing, and oftentimes they end up losing right from the beginning. It's calculated as such. And, once you've found yourself in this repeated cycle, you're repeatedly finding, or, you feel like you're surrounded with these types of people, either in, chronic work environments, love relationships, friendship, circles, where you're hanging out, where you find yourself kind of vibrating as an energetically as an emotional person, and you're starting to say, you know what, this is not the real me. The authentic me is not in this group. I have my ladder up the wrong tree. I am growing tired of this. This is not positive. This is not productive. This is not giving me the perspective of life that I'm really happy with, and I really need to change. Sometimes people have been through, situations with the law or abusive relationships that have got out of hand, and that's kind of what's giving them the image from the outside in. But oftentimes people come to the experience, awareness within as well. So realize that oftentimes in life that like attracts like. And the relationships that you have been in, especially if you were perhaps even raised by a parent or parents who were of this ilk or who were of this type of people, perhaps who were selfish in their child rearing. They were somewhat neglectful. They weren't there for you in supporting ways, or perhaps maybe they were over controlling or violating of boundaries, and they didn't let you live your own life, so you kind of went the other direction. You felt that they were always making decisions for you. They gave too much. They were always there for you. They didn't allow you to fall, stumble, and then put the Band-Aid on your own knee and then keep going, for example. They were always there. We hear the example of the golden child. This child was never able to learn their own lessons or make their own friendships in healthy circles that they could then carry on with. They then began to attract the wrong crowd, or rather, the wrong crowd looked attractive. So they said, these people seem like they're having a lot of fun, this big biker crew, and they found that oftentimes, these guys on the bikes or girls on the bikes were troublemakers, or they were too rebellious, or they were not really law-abiding, or they were not loving and kind. That's not to say stereotypical. What I'm getting at is the inner experience where what you are attracted to is the wrong type of individual, and it's because it's resonating something within you where you are not able to draw boundaries around yourself and have a certain standard or level of which you will tolerate or with which you will accept. In other words, you're tolerating those individuals or bringing those people into your life, which are either not respectful of your feelings, emotions, wishes, or your boundaries, or really healthy standards. So your standards, because you've had them lowered again and again and again, or you've tolerated too many late nights, or you've tolerated people to ignore you, and you then just validate and say, you know what, I've always been ignored. This is normal for me. Or the fact that this person is too risky, a high risk taker, and you find yourselves getting into trouble and you're tolerating it. You have to look at your standards and what you've permitted and allowed in that little voice, which perhaps you've been so muffled you didn't realize that this person is not respecting you. Perhaps you don't know what it feels like to be respected, or furthermore, the self-respect or the respect does not feel comfortable. Oftentimes people who have been around a lot of violators and perpetrators, they only feel comfortable around people who are somewhat abusive, rough around the edges, who don't respect them, who aren't really there to do the fun things in life. For example, the individuals who, only want to have a superficial relationship and not have the real thing, get the dog, the house, the kids. They want to kind of keep separate, or these adult relationships that don't ever sort of flourish into the real thing for you. Or the job that, seems to be a lot of competition, a lot of scapegoating, a lot of backstabbing. And, you find yourself then working in these environments where that is the norm. And you now need to maybe get out of that sort of industry where that is not normal, where, there's a lot of favorites being played, and you're having to show up people, or there's a lot of unhealthy competition versus cooperation. It's not a strength-based environment. Or you find you're living in a community where it's like this, where, there's a lot of lack of structure, or, people stay out too late, or they drink, drug, live in low economic areas, homelessness is running rampant, or, things you're not working for, goals or visions for yourself, like, having a steady house. Unstable feels the new stable, and you say, enough of rocking the boat. So oftentimes people are quote unquote trained or conditioned to be attracted to these people. In other words, they're conditioned to be an enabler, conditioned to only present themselves in an over-sexualized manner. They don't realize that they're sending out the wrong message. They're not presenting themselves in a together manner. They dress scantily, or, the guys are the bad boys, and they're putting themselves out as the bad boy. They think that's how they're going to get the girl, and they wonder why they're getting the wrong type of girl, because they're basically sending out that vibration out into that environment, wherever it is, their workplace, their family, their circle where they're trying to meet people, and they're not presenting really the person that they want to attract. So if you want to attract a certain type of person, look at the qualities with which you have in your ideal. So, clean cut, has a good job, has, caring, loving, kind, values these things within me. Look at cultivating those very qualities within yourself. See where perhaps your boundaries had been violated in the past and see that maybe you don't have these erected within yourself. These boundaries, in other words, are you still attracted to trouble? Are you still attracted to, the Lonely Hearts Club band, where you're only attracting those people who are needy, who are fixer-uppers, who have, a little bit of something wrong with them, so to speak, and you find that you're attracted to these people because you want to be the caregiver, you want to be the enabler. Maybe you're addicted to, people who are alcoholic or drug users, and you think that this is benign or innocent, but it can really become a real issue in the relationship, because oftentimes that is very destructive to that person's judgment, and so then their lack of judgment will then ricochet back on you. So look at some of those ideas. See where perhaps your boundaries are being violated, where you need to erect your boundaries. In other words, saying, no, I'm not going to do that, be that, feel that, go there. I'm going to say no. But furthermore, I am going to say yes to self-respect, having a little bit higher standard, having a little bit higher self-evaluation of yourself, self-esteem, and then so that you can then begin to condition yourself to attract better people and surround yourself with people even who you look up to, role models, people who are perhaps a little bit more stable than you, a little bit more conservative, or whatever it is direction that you want to go, so you can begin then to condition yourself. And it doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight. This does happen over a period of times, if not weeks, months, and years to come. So you'll then become, like crafted, like a sculpture. You'll then begin to kind of mold and then have a new sense of self-image, and reinvent yourself and your identity, which is your moods, your identity, your sort of temperament, if you will, pervasively over time, then begins to develop a better identity and a better, stronger, more secure I am. It is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.